Hi everyone, this is Shannon from theirishscrapper.com, and today I have a Mother's Day card for you guys. I am using one of the new embossing folders. This is called Lovely Floral. This is a dynamic textured embossing folder, so that means it is the thicker version than your typical. This is a part of our new Share What You Love, one of the bundles. Here is the Share What You Love bundle. I know I've been talking about it a lot lately. We have a few bundles that are being released in an early pre-order for the month of May to customers. So, in the Gotta Have It All bundle, you will receive the Lovely Floral Dynamic Textured Embossing folder, and I thought it made a perfect canvas to do some coloring. So this one I've actually used my blends, but since the blends are currently on back order, I thought we would do it with our ink pads and our blender pens. You could also use your watercolor pencils here. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use Calypso Coral for our card base. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Whisper White. This is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to grab our Big Shot, and we're going to emboss this. So because this is a dynamic embossing folder, the sandwich is a little bit different. So I just have my regular Big Shot platform, and I'm going to put my Whisper White in the embossing folder. And I hope you can tell I have the flower almost to the top here. So that's leaving me room along the bottom of the Whisper White for my sentiment as well as some ribbon. So we will roll this through. And you can see here you get a beautiful deep emboss. So it's the dynamic folders give you a much, I call it a deeper emboss. So it's a little higher, if that makes sense. So with a piece of grid paper, we're going to do some of our coloring. Now I will show you guys, I did do one with the watercolor pencils, and you can see these two leaves here have the watercolor pencils, and I've taken the blender pen and I've just went over the pencil, and that has kept it light. Now here, I also did the watercolor pencils, but then I also took my blender pen with a little bit of the ink and just did the outline. So that's why this is a deeper tone. Did the same thing with the leaves here, just to show you that you could do a nice combination with the watercolor pencils as well as your blender pen and your ink pad. So for this one, I think we will use our Calypso Coral. So I'm going to squeeze my ink pad. That's going to give me some ink here in the center of my top. I'm going to put my blender pen in there, and we are going to color this. Now I know on camera this will be hard to see the detail of the folder, but it is beautiful. So right now I'm just keeping it inside the raised edge. Okay, so you can see this is within that lip. And I'm using colors that we have in both the watercolor pencils as well as the ink pads. And if you were lucky enough to get the blends during that first release, these colors are in there as well. So you could do this either way. You can use your aqua painters as well with your watercolor pencils. I just find that I love the blender pens. It doesn't release so much water. For me, I'm a little heavy-handed with them, so this is perfect. And now if you wanted to go along, let me get some more ink here. Give that a nice squeeze. If I want to come along that raised edge, I can just come right over it. The blender pens, of course, are a little quicker. option for coloring. But this doesn't take too much time, and coloring is so therapeutic. I highly suggest it if you live a high-stressed life like I do. This just kind of calms me down. Well, that's not the best job, but I'll touch it up when we're done. I'm going to clean my blender pen by wiping it on my grid paper. Now I'm going to come in with the Old Olive. This one, maybe I'll go to that raised edged first. And I'll show you how you get that different look with the watercolor pencils. Okay, so let me clean that off. And you can see, I'll bring in my pencil here, and I'll just touch up the center of this flower. Bring back in that blender pen, and you can see how soft that works. So I kind of like the combination of both, the pencils as well as your ink pad. I like the softness that the pencils bring, and then the darker color that you can get with your ink pad. Hopefully that's easier to see with the Old Olive than the Calypso. So I'm going to go ahead and finish coloring this, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so you can see that I finished up coloring our embossing thing. I brought in a little Rich Razzleberry, again the Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, and some Old Olive. So these are all colors that you can get either in the watercolor pencils. You definitely need your blender pen to do both of the techniques with the watercolor pencils, or just using the ink from your ink pad. You can tell here that it gives you a completely different tone and color compared to the blends, but all of them are beautiful. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use the Happy Mother's Day stamp set. This is, or Happy Mother's Day stamp. This is actually from the Paper Pumpkin kit. Let's see, that would have been March's kit, I believe. Yes. So I am going to stamp Happy Mother's Day right here in the Memento Black. And then we are going to use some of our ribbon. This is our Calypso Coral. Let me see, this is the, where's the size here? This is the sheer ribbon. And I'm going to just wrap this around here. Actually, I think I'm going to do two doubles. Oops, two wraps. So I'm going to add some Fast Fuse to the back of my card. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now I'm going to bring this back here. I'm going to grab my scissors. You can see that I've just given that a little bit of a pop. I'm going to add more adhesive here. I'm putting it around all four sides because of the embossing. I'm even going to run some down the center. Okay, and I'll bring back in our card base, which is the Calypso Coral. We'll lay that down. That gives it a nice pop once you put it down on your base color. Let me get my bone folder. Just be careful not to squish your embossing that you created. And I think I might even do a little tie with. Okay, so that completes our Mother's Day card. I'll bring back my other version that I used with the blends, and you can see here, here's another one that I was just practicing with to kind of show you the difference between the watercolor pencil as well as using the ink pad. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. I look forward to being back with you real soon. You can find a full supply list of the products used today in the description of the video, as well as the May Hostess code. And I look forward to being back with you real soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.